uh, 15 credit hours of coursework plus an internship for students from all across the UT system. We have 3 students from UTRGV in Washington, D.C. right now under the auspices of the Archer program. It's a fantastic opportunity. We've had a lot of students from the College of Business and Entrepreneurship that have been successful applicants for the Archer program. And one thing I want to mention too, as I'm getting started here, is that all the programs I'm going to talk about today are competitive programs. So they're not, you just apply and if you're eligible, you get it. These are all highly competitive. But the Archer Fellowship program is the undergraduate portion of it. And as I mentioned, there is the academic component. So you take a 3-credit class with Dr. Swerdlow called Politics and National Memory. That's a fantastic course. Swerdlow is an amazing instructor. He basically, what he does is take students around to different places in Washington, D.C. and talks about them while they're there. So you would sit on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and he'd talk to you about Lincoln and about Lincoln's role in history and about the memorial itself and how it was built and some of the history behind that. Fantastic class. Really interesting person. Dr. Chin teaches the course on the policymaking process, and Dr. Daly teaches the course on advocacy and politics, and then there's 6 credit hours covers your internship. I just want to mention the program fees and housing fees for the Archer students in Washington, D.C. are pretty high. It's program fee is $4,900, and there's a housing fee as well. And it's going to be about $4,800. UTRGV covers all of that. Okay, we cover that. You're paying the program fee in place of your tuition, and basically we do some sort of hands behind our back kind of moving money around in different accounts to zero out your tuition balance, and then the Archer Center sends me a bill and we pay it. So that's how that works. In addition, there's assistance available. The Archer Center has an arrangement with Southwest Airlines where you can apply for a travel voucher for your round trip ticket to Washington, D.C. and back. And there's also, in the past at least, it has been, for a couple of semesters, they had an agreement with DC Metro, which is the public transit here in Washington, D.C. Excellent public transit system, real clean, safe subways, great ride. But they had an arrangement with the DC Metro system where students that were on the Archer program got unlimited Metro cards. So, basically unlimited rides on the DC Metro. Very, very useful and a big money saver, trust me. So anyway, and there are some information sessions coming up for the Archer program. And if you go, you see what I just did. You go to, here's the URL, archercenter.org. And they had a link at the Archer Fellowship program page to information sessions. And I went there, and these are all done via Zoom. So we've got several. We already had one. We've got several more coming up, running through the end of January. The applications are due in February. decisions are usually made late March, early April, I think. We do on-campus interviews for students that are selected to be interviewed, right? As kind of the first cut in usually the second week of March. So anyway, I'd encourage lots of you to apply. I know, Ben, you're already working on an application. Keep it up. Yeah. So yeah, Ben is working on an application. Yeah. Somebody has a question. No.
No,
okay.
it was just a clapping emoji congratulating Ben.
Okay.
Way to go, Ben.
Okay, I thought that was a handout. Sorry.
But I did have a question.
I got to get used to the icons. Okay. Anyway, so that's the Archer Center. And now let me also talk about.
Dr. Andersen, I was going to ask a question.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, if you have like an academic scholarship that's not part of like that's other than financial aid, what would happen to that in lieu of going to the Archer Center program?
That would actually be applied to your student tuition bill. So what happens? The way that works is when we do the when you get your tuition bill, your existing financial aid is already applied to it, or is applied to it first, and then when we do the sleight of hand with the money to make your bill go away, I just pay the balance basically. So you know, any money that you're or any portion of your tuition bill that the scholarship covers will be covered by the scholarship, and then I pay the balance. Yeah. Okay. And as far as other competitive opportunities are concerned, and we do have on the Honors College website, so utrgv.edu/honors, I've got information on the Archer Fellowship Program and links to the Archer Fellowship Program. And then I've got links here to other competitive scholarships and fellowships. And I just want to talk briefly about some of those, in particular the top three that are listed here. There are some really prestigious, highly competitive scholarships and fellowships out there for graduate study in the UK. All right. So if you're interested in, and there are lots of really good schools in England. One natural, I think, for really outstanding business students might be the LSE, right? London School of Economics. It's a major, huge program, very prestigious. So those are the possibilities there. And I want to talk about these three in particular: the Rhodes Scholarships. Let me open that one up. The Rhodes Scholarship was established by the Rhodes Trust to fund graduate study at Oxford University in Oxford, in England. Really interesting place to go. I've been there 3 times myself, and it's really inspiring, really cool. But this is like the most competitive scholarship out there. There are 32 American students selected for the Rhodes Scholarship each year. So if you're one of the top 32 university students in the country, you've got a good shot at this thing. So it's highly competitive, but definitely worthwhile. The due dates for these things are in the fall all the programs I'm going to talk about, the application deadlines are in the fall. So, for example, if you're a junior now, you would want to start working on your application in the spring, so that you could submit it, a year from now, right? So anyway, that's the Rhodes Scholarship, and the Gates Cambridge is similar, but instead of sending you to Oxford University, it sends you to Cambridge University, again for a master's program. So think about that one. And then the Marshall Scholarship, again, equally prestigious, equally competitive, but it gives you the opportunity to do a 2-year graduate program at any university in the UK, right? So any place you want to go in England, that's available. And again, these are highly competitive. Again, due dates in the fall. Expect to spend as much time working on an application for one of these as you would on a 3-credit class. So if you're a junior this year, you would want to apply next fall, and you really want to start working on your application like April or May. Really, it's pretty serious. And highly competitive, but also highly prestigious. Okay, the other one I want to talk about for you is the Fulbright U.S. Student Program. They give out a lot more awards, and there are basically 2 types of Fulbright Student Awards. And again, these are for, if once you've already graduated. There are basically 2 types of awards. One is an English teaching assistantship that places students in classrooms in foreign countries to provide assistance to local English teachers. So they help teach English language skills while also serving as sort of cultural ambassadors for the United States. And then the other type of program is the study and research program, which it basically funds you for 1 year of study at a foreign institution. Here's their website. It's just us.fulbrightonline.org. And again, if you just Google Fulbright U.S. Student Program, you can find that information pretty readily. And these Fulbright awards are I'm not going to say they're easy to get. They're highly competitive, actually, but they're a lot easier to get than like Rhodes, Marshall, and Gates Cambridge. That's for sure. So and they're a great, particularly the English teaching assistantship is a great gap year experience if you're looking for just something to do for a year after you're done with your degree, and an opportunity to live abroad for a while. It's a fantastic opportunity. So anyway, gonna stop screen sharing and just ask if anybody has any questions at this point.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the first deadline for the Archer program?
Let's see, for the Archer undergraduate fellowship program, the application deadline it's in February. I think it's usually like second week of February, and then they make the first cut looking at the applications and decide who to interview right away after that, and then they do the interviews. Yeah, it's usually first or second week of March, and then 2 or 3 weeks after that, that's when the decisions are made.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are those programs for the undergraduate students, for senior going to be the graduate, or those programs also subject for the graduate, currently the graduate student?
The Archer program has a program for graduate students. That's a summer program. Applications for that one are due in November. Decisions are usually made in early December, because it's a summer program, so the students are going to be starting during the summertime. So it's an earlier.
Is that applicable for the current graduate student to get into the
Yes.
summer? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
How about other programs that you introduced right now, like Rhodes or those things?
Those are for the typical applicants for Rhodes and Marshall and Gates Cambridge are students that are just about to finish their bachelor's degree or have recently finished their bachelor's degree and want to do a graduate program. So those typically are standalone graduate programs. The Fulbright study and research grants, those can be, if you can find a one-year master's program, and there are quite a few out there. You could do this Fulbright study and research for a master's program. The Fulbright English teaching assistantship is open to pretty much anybody.
Thank you.
I had a question for you, Dr. Andersen. What would you suggest, or what kind of advice would you, just anyone here in general, when applying to these opportunities that you brought to us today? What advice would you give us when we're applying to these opportunities?
Start early. Start early. Talk to me. I've worked with students that have applied for all of these things and done well in all of those areas. I've never worked with someone who's gotten a Rhodes Scholarship, but I've worked with students that have gotten as far as the interview stage anyway, which is, just being interviewed for a Rhodes Scholarship is something you can put on your resume, and it looks really good, right? So yeah, start early. Talk to me. I've got a lot of information, and also look really carefully at maybe the profiles of some of the people who have won these kinds of awards, and what kind of backgrounds they're coming from, and what their educational or academic accomplishments are, and that kind of stuff. And again, you have to be aware that all of these things I'm talking about, we've had great success getting students into the Archer program, both the undergraduate and graduate program. But these programs are all very competitive, and you have to, you can't approach it with a mindset that I'm eligible, therefore I've got a good shot. You have to be beyond eligible. You have to be competitive, and you have to put together a competitive application. And in all cases, that involves writing really well and carefully.
One more question regarding competitiveness. So let me ask a question about the competitiveness and how do they measure how competent for each students, like mainly for essay or mainly for grade? What the measurement do they have?
They certainly look at transcripts, but they're looking very holistically. Certainly for the Rhodes and Marshall, it's very much based on letters of recommendation and on the essays that the applicant writes. They're looking at that, and they're looking for They're looking for potential. And again, each of these, the websites for each of these kinds of awards have somewhere on the website their selection criteria. So they'll tell you what they're looking for. Yeah, they'll tell you what they're looking for. You know, I mean, the typical sort of Rhodes and Marshall person is, you know, somebody who was physics major and concertmaster of the University Symphony Orchestra and started a business while in college. You know, that kind of thing. Those are the kinds of people that tend to be successful. Multidimensional. You know, for Rhodes, Marshall, and Gates Cambridge in particular, they're looking for people that are really, you know, seriously multidimensional, not just, I hate to use the phrase, but not just sort of cookie cutter overachievers, but in that the way you actually apply for the Gates Cambridge is different than the others. For the Gates Cambridge, you just need to find a graduate program at Cambridge University that you want to apply to and fill out the application. And on the application, if you're a student from the United States applying to a graduate program at Cambridge, there will be a box on the online application form that says, do you want to apply for the Gates Cambridge Scholarship? And you check the box. We've had the situation a couple of times, once here at UTRGV that I know of, and a couple times at my previous institution too, where the student gets accepted into the program that they applied to at Cambridge, but didn't get the Gates Cambridge Scholarship. That actually happened to one of the honors college students who was also in the College of Business. This was 3 or 4 years ago. She applied to a graduate program at Cambridge, applied for the Gates Cambridge Scholarship, got accepted into the graduate program, and didn't get the Gates Cambridge. So she went with her plan B, which was University of Texas Law School. And she's 3rd year there now. I don't know if some of you may have overlapped with Annalise Villarreal, but that was her. I think Mrs. Leonard knows Annalise. Incredibly good student. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Dr. Andersen, I have a question for you. Are these scholarships available for international students?
Some are and some aren't. Yeah, you need to look at at each individual one. The Fulbright is sponsored through the U.S. State Department, so you need to be I think not just a permanent resident, but a citizen, because it's a U.S. State Department program. But the other ones, yeah, the other ones you'd have to look on each one. I think for the Rhodes, maybe not, and for the others, you can be. And the Archer program is available to international students.
Thank you.
Mm. Anybody else? Okay. Well, my email address is mark.andersen@utrgv.edu, or you can just get a hold of my administrative assistant at honors@utrgv.edu. utrgv.edu. If you have questions about any of these things, you know, and yeah, stay in touch. All right. I've got like 3 back-to-back meetings today, so I'm gonna take off and get ready for my next one. But yeah, it's been great talking with you all. Take
That's
care.
good. Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson,
Thank
for
you,
taking the
sir.
time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Have a nice day.
You too.
So that basically concludes today's general meeting. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to come and join us and listening to Dr. Anderson speak about these great opportunities. If any of you guys have any questions regarding Enactus or anything Dr. Anderson talked about, feel free to reach out in the chat or to any one of us. Does anyone have any questions? No, well, this concludes today's general meeting. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Y'all have a good day.
Bye. All right, I'm gonna end the meeting. Later, guys.